Hey there, it's Brendan Stoneman with RE/MAX Kelowna, and I'm talking to Una Gabie, a lawyer at Touchstone Law. So when people are buying a property, they get the quote for their legal services from the lawyer, and a lot of times they may see that number and say, wow, that's a lot of money to come in and sit down and talk to a lawyer for 45 minutes and sign a few papers. But maybe if you could break down where that money goes and what's involved in that fee.
For sure, there's various components to a legal account. So of course there's the fee, which is the amount you're actually paying the lawyer to do the work that you're hiring them to do. On top of that, there's typically, we call them disbursements, out-of-pocket expenses, one of those terms. And that will be things that we have to pay for on that client's behalf. Mm-hmm. So frequently on a transaction, there'll be registration costs if we're doing a purchase, registering the transfer and a new mortgage for them. There'll be title search costs. We usually do a title search at the beginning. We do one right before closing. We then have to order a state of title certificate to give them after closing, confirming ownership of the property. Some insurance providers charge an insurance binder fee. So we see up to somewhere around $50 to get a confirmation of their insurance that we have to get for the lender. Mm-hmm. As well, strata corporations will charge a fee to get strata documents that we have to have again for the lender and to be able to close. So all of those items are actual out-of-pocket costs that we incur on a file. And then of course there's GST and PST on various components of those. Some are GST-able, some are GST and PST-able. So there's certainly, they add up, and there's certainly different costs depending on the type of the transaction you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. So then how can a buyer differentiate between what one lawyer is quoting them and another? Because sometimes there can be some discrepancies, and and how do they know that they're comparing apples to apples, mm-hmm. essentially, on what they're getting?
Probably the most important piece is to make sure they're very clear on what's included in the amount they've been given and what isn't. Mm-hmm. Is a lawyer simply telling them what the lawyer's fee portion of that cost is going to be? Our practice is to quote as an all-inclusive amount for the buyer, so they know exactly, or the seller actually, so they know exactly what they're paying, which includes our fee, our out-of-pocket expenses, GST and PST, all of that's included in our quote. Right. So probably the biggest concern is just making sure the quote you have from one lawyer includes all the same stuff as the quote you have from another lawyer if you're trying to figure out which one you'd like to go with.